Hello class, good morning. So today we'll discuss another important part of the assessment that goes beyond the paper and pencil test. So this is what we call the performance-based assessment, but specifically its type. So there are two types of performance-based assessment, restricted and extended type. But before that, here's our learning objectives. First is to differentiate between restricted and extended types of performance-based assessment based on their characteristics and scope. Second is to analyze the characteristics, advantages, and disadvantages of restricted and extended performance-based in assessing student learning. And third is to design sample restricted and extended performance-based assessment aligned to specific learning objectives in their subject area. Before we go into the types of a performance assessment, let's define first what performance assessment is. So, according to Popham, performance assessment requires students to construct, to create, or to perform an activity, not just answering on a paper. But according naman kay Macmillan, he stated that it is the student's ability to apply knowledge and skills into a real-world problem. And meanwhile, according to Miller, that he highlights the word doing, not just knowing, but to allow the teacher to observe the behavior of the students directly. So, in short, performance-based assessment focused on application and demonstration rather than memorization. So let's move on into the two major parts of a performance assessment, which is the restricted and extended type. So these differ mainly in terms of scope, duration, and complexity. So restricted types are shorter, focus on specific skills, while extended are broader, longer, and integrate multiple skills. So restricted and extended differ on that aspect. But according to Miller, he defined a restricted type as a narrowly defined and focused on a specific, discrete, or processes. So he stated that it is a snapshot of knowledge, or just imagine a single photo who captured a smaller part. So that is being defined by Miller. Sabi niya, isa single photo daw ang restricted. Single photo na nag-capture ng smaller part. While, for example, is that a type of a letter of application for job, or read aloud a section of a story. So that is one of the example of the restricted according to Miller. And Miller believed that the shorter the administration make it possible to administer more tests. And he believed also that the more that it is structured, the more that it is easier to score. And according kay Macmillan is medyo same sila ng pagka-define ni Miller ng restricted type, that it is narrowly defined skill and require relatively brief responses. So the task is structured and specific, so it looks similar daw sa short essay, which is gina-required ang student na mag-reason based on the correct answer. So for example is that elicit student explanation of their answer, so that is restricted according kay Macmillan. Draw a diagram, defend an answer, and other aspects of reasoning, because it will have a greater reliability and sampling daw according kay Macmillan. So there are characteristics, advantages, and disadvantages of a restricted type. So based on sources, so characteristics of a restricted type is it's only focused on one or few specific skills. It is structured and guided by clear steps, completed in a short time, require brief and construct responses. And the advantages naman ng restricted is easier and quicker to score, just like what Miller said na the more that it is structured, the more that it is easier to score, and less time consuming to administer and useful for quick formative checks. And the disadvantages naman is limited authenticity dahil gina-require lang yung specific skill na or ina-identify lang yung skills na dapat yung single skills or specific skills ng estudyante, and it cannot measure integration of multiple skills and less sustainable for higher order thinking skills. So in short, restricted type is specific and structured, ideal for assessing small chunks of learning or specific learning. It may not capture the full range of student ability or skills. I have here a scenario that I want you class to identify if it is a restricted or extended, and what are the characteristics that is present in this scenario that makes it extended or restricted. Now let's move on into the second type of a performance assessment, which is the extended type, that is being defined by Macmillan as a complex, elaborate, and time-consuming task requiring students to integrate knowledge and skills over time. So Macmillan called it as a story because it is a longer journey. So for example, and also that include a collaborative work with small groups of students. So for example, assignments that usually require students to use or to gather variety of sources from the library or interview. That is one of the example of extended type based on Macmillan. And according naman kay Miller, it is open-ended, requires sustained effort, and often results in tangible product or performance. So kay Miller, same din sila ni Macmillan that it requires students to seek information from a variety of sources beyond those provided on the task itself. And there are characteristics also, the disadvantages and advantages of extended type, which is it have a broader scope, integrates multiple skills, take longer to complete, days or weeks, and usually open-ended and authentic, and require holistic scoring or rubric. And the advantages is it promotes critical thinking and creativity closer to real-world problems or situation, increases motivation and engagement, and provide a rich evidence of learning. And the disadvantages is time-consuming and more subjective scoring, and risk of influence by unrelated factors just like writing ability. But despite the disadvantages, extended performance-based assessment gives us a deeper and more authentic picture of student learning. So I have here again a scenario that I want you to identify and analyze what are the characteristics that is being involved in the situation that makes it restricted or extended type. So I have here a question that I want you to answer. When it is okay and not okay to use a restricted and extended performance-based assessment? I want you to reflect on this question and formulate your answer, and I will call somebody in the class to answer this question and share their ideas. To sum it up, performance assessment gives us a more authentic view of what learners can do. Restricted is specific, short, and structured, while extended is complex, open-ended, and integrated. So, as a future teachers, our goal is to balance both, using restricted tasks for quick checks and extended tasks for deeper learning evidence. So both type is important, restricted and extended, just like what I have said, that we have to balance both. So it is important, but It depends on the purpose of our assessment. So restricted type, if we want to check if students mastered skills, and extended naman if we want to see if they can apply and combine those skills. So I think this concludes my discussion for today. So see you and good day, and thank you for listening.